Welcome to the Grab a Hole podcast. I'm your host, Justin S., and I am back in the pool house alongside with, well, it's not exactly my regular co-host. We are now dealing with Penta, El Cerro Miedo. Is that who we have this week for predictions?
Uh, Timu, El Cero Miedo.
Timu. All
Timu,
right. Well,
El Miedo.
we were promised a roughly a month ago that we would see Damian don the Lucha mask, and it was in transit the last time he was able to find out information about it, and clearly it has arrived. So, was it what you expected and what you hoped of the mask?
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. The only problem is these little jewels are falling off the side of the mask. Other than that, I love it. I think I might be wearing this more often.
There you go. Well, we had talked earlier that you may be going to a baseball game later. If you're wearing that in the stands, that'd be awesome. That's a great way for people to find you.
I don't think they'll let me into the stadium wearing a mask, to be honest with you.
Just put it in your pocket. You'll be all right.
I might get a certain entity calling me.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. None of that California love. Well, if you are listening to us on Amazon Music or Audible, thank you. If you are watching us on Spotify or YouTube, thank you. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that way you get these as soon as we drop them. As this is not our normal recording time, we're doing this on a Tuesday afternoon today rather than a Wednesday evening. So this one's going to be a little early. So make sure you subscribe and that you like so that way when we drop these, whether it's an early episode or, a longer episode, that you guys get them as soon as they drop. So that way you can listen to them and watch them either while you're work or while you're pretending to work. We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of wrestling to talk about this week. We had, Raw last night. We have NXT tonight. We have Dynamite on Wednesday. Collision is actually Thursday, along with TNA on Thursday. SmackDown on Friday. Saturday night's main event at Evolution and All In this weekend. So there is a shit ton of wrestling across the board.
Mucha lucha.
That's right. The only thing we're missing is a AAA show. That being in the thought process of so much wrestling, with what they have going on with WWE doing 2 shows this weekend to AEW's 1, we're going to give our predictions for all we're going to do Saturday night's main event and Evolution, but then we're also going to blind pick AEW at the end here. So make sure you stay along for that. For you, when you look at a full week like this, like how do you pick and choose what to watch?
My wife picks and chooses what I get to watch. I mean, listen, I'm watching Monday night. I'll be watching Friday night. Saturday night, it probably will not be live. I'll probably have to watch that on tape delay that night. And then Sunday Evolution, honestly, I'll probably be on the way home. So once I get home and everybody goes to bed, I'll probably sit down and watch that if I hear that the reviews for the show were good. If I hear that the show wasn't very good, I probably won't watch it. So,
Okay.
And AEW. We're just picking just to see if we know what the hell we're talking about with as far as, once you've seen wrestling for 20-something years.
You feel like you have an idea?
We might have an idea of what happens. We'll see. We might be better at predicting that blind than we do predicting WWE stuff that we watch all the time.
Right? No lie.
So, yeah, as far as, if I was going to be home, I would watch everything. I'd probably watch all of them. Live, I don't know, but I'm traveling this week, going down to a family party, a quinceañera.
Very fitting.
There's in the 1-5.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely be watching at some point.
Okay. For what WWE's doing with these, every 3-week PLEs or Saturday night's main events, do you feel like, because I talked about this a little bit last week by myself, that I feel like they needed to do a good job with the Evolution stories for the women and make people care and not just do matches for the sake of matches. I felt like the first Evolution, that you kind of felt like it was a one-off, right? That it wasn't going to be an annual thing. It wasn't going to be a regular thing. So because of that, you could do the dream match thing. You could bring back women that you felt like, oh, like this is an opportunity to see them after so many years, or maybe my kids have never seen them or whatever. And now they have such a stacked roster from top to bottom, from NXT all the way to Raw and SmackDown. And even if you wanted to deep dive, I said you could even reach into the TNA talent pool. I don't feel like they've done a good job of getting that point across and making this feel like either A, it's going to be a regular thing, or B, making this feel super important just in the sense of a PLE type show. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right. I feel like there was one match on this card that they did a good job of building. I know they had the triple threat match for the IC title. I know they had probably something else planned for Nikki Bella and Liv Morgan, and that kind of went down the shitter with Liv Morgan getting hurt. But other than that, everything else just felt rushed and put together. And here's the thing, these women are going to want to show out. They're going to be in front of probably like what 3,000-4,000 fans with Beyonce performing across the city of Atlanta
Oh, is
at
that
the same time.
they're in the same town that's happening?
Yeah, Beyonce's performing that night, I believe,
Oh, geez.
and so that's why a lot of people are wondering why they would have even booked it that day in Atlanta, same
Oh,
day as a Beyonce concert. I don't know if there's a lot of crossover. Um, I feel like they're going to want to put on a show. While the build may not be great, I think I expect
the matches to be
matches
quality.
to deliver,
Okay.
especially
So,
considering some of the people that they have on this card.
right. I said that, and do you agree with me that I said that the PLE should overshadow the hype of Saturday night's main event? I mean, just based on who's in it, what you're doing, and how you're promoting it, that I should be more invested in Evolution than I am Saturday night's main event. Do you agree with that?
I don't know, not necessarily. I don't see why they can't co-promote or promote them equally. It's two big shows. I know NBC's not going to want you to focus more on your PLE, even though both are going to be on the same app.
Right.
Um, no, I mean you got Goldberg in his retirement match. I think that's your marquee
That's your
showcase.
headliner?
Yeah, it's your headliner of the weekend. So I think that's where your focus should be.
Okay.
Even
Fair
as much
enough.
as we don't like it, it seems like the casual fans they still react to his music, to his walkout, for whatever reason. I mean, not everybody's a Brett fan, I guess. They're a
I
Goldberg
mean,
fan.
do you feel like I mentioned this a little bit last week about being conditioned to things like these hardcore moments or these, craziness of being conditioned as a fan for what they want you to do. Do you feel like Goldberg is a part of that? That like fans are just conditioned to when that music plays, that's what they're supposed to do. That they're supposed to do the cheering when he goes after the spear or something like that. It's not necessarily that they really are invested in Bill or that they really like what he's doing, but that it's just part of what the show's about and that's how they participate.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but it still gets a reaction.
So it's something.
So it's something. So put him on TV, I guess. And listen, he does talk a lot about how he was promised a retirement match. Vince McMahon,
Right.
for whatever reason, decided not to give it to him. So I mean, they've done a solid job with this for what it's worth. They've done a solid job of telling us a story at least.
Hmm.
So I mean, I don't know what to expect. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be a 4 or 5 minute match, or if it's gonna be something that Gunther carries them for a 10, 12, 15 minute match, um, to for the end of his career. So I'm curious to see what happens here.
Okay. Well, let's get to our predictions because we have a lot between both shows for WWE and All In for AEW. We roughly have 16 matches to predict, so we got a lot to predict.
All right.
So let's start with Saturday night's main event. We got Seth and LA Knight. Again, these are in no particular order, but Seth and LA Knight to lead off is what I have written down. This has actually been an ongoing story that LA Knight having a problem with Seth, having a problem with his group. They've kind of interwoven, and he showed up again last night at the end of the show, hitting Seth with the blunt force trauma. This is one of the few things that's been a common thread regularly and that they've kept up on and not just kind of let fall to the wayside or rush. Who's your pick in this match, and have you liked how they put this story together?
Yeah, you know what? At first, I wasn't sold on this match. I didn't like the idea of Seth and LA Knight having a feud of being on different shows. But it does lend itself to the element of surprise, right? You don't expect LA Knight to show up on Raw and
Right.
interfere in these matches and get one up on Seth. So they've done a good job. And LA Knight, for as much as I'm not a fan of his, it's a loud reaction. People love him. I like the way that they were using him here. He kind of did come off looking as a badass rather than just kind of this guy that just rambles too much because they limited the amount of talking that he was doing. It was just more action. And so I like that. I like what they did for this, maybe just to be a one-off at Saturday night's main event, and it's a great spot for LA Knight. It's a showcase match on a big card. So that's good, right? A non-title match for him on a card. We always wonder what are they going to do with him. He always, kind of came off as a weak U.S. champion because they didn't use him well, not because of for whatever reasons. But he looks strong right now. I don't expect him to win. I think Seth Rollins wins, but he looks really strong going after Seth, going after Braun and Bronson. So I'll definitely go. I'll go with Seth, probably with some outside shenanigans, but he should definitely get the win here. I will say this before you get to your prediction. Watching the match last night with my boy here and Seth, that was a great match on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was.
And Seth won, and it was the right call for him to win. But did you kind of sense like the reaction that Penta was getting in that match? Like, how cool would it be if they just let him get the win, right? They just decided like, hey, you know what? The crowd's hot for this. They want to see the win. Let's just do it. I know it doesn't make storyline sense, but
right. I think that it was a good move for feelers, that it put Penta in the main event so you could see, does he get the reaction? Do people care? Are they going to be hot for his moments? He hit that Penta driver, and I kind of thought people thought, oh shit, like they may let him have one right here and surprise us, and Seth kind of get up pissed, and the group jump Penta. But there was some really good moments for him. There was some really good stuff where the crowd was with him the whole way, the reaction he got, and I thought it was a good tester to see how he can hang with a main event guy like Seth. And don't get me wrong, Seth is one of those guys that, you feel like, oh, that's a guy that could work with just about anybody. But for Penta, I mean, I feel like it was a good kind of step in the right direction of where this guy's going to go from here, right? We've seen him in the Intercontinental title picture. We've seen him work with guys like Dom. We've even seen him work with Finn and Braun Breaker. So now, where does he kind of sit? Well, I would say that it's fair to say he's one of those fringe guys, that he's upper middle card, hanging on, waiting for his chance to get the main event. And last night showed that, hey, if you give him a little bit with somebody who is a proven commodity, he can definitely carry his own weight. So I thought it was a good showing for him.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited to see it. I did hear people saying, I mean, in the ring, he gets great reaction. He has a great look. He has great charisma. But, will he be able to carry a storyline, when he gets to that point? Like, what's his motivations, So we'll see when we get there. But I thought it was a great showing. I expect a similar performance from LA Knight where people are going to get really behind him. They're going to expect to win. Seth is going to probably carry that match. I'll say that. Make it look really good and make it seem like LA Knight really has a chance to win before Seth ultimately pulls it out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go Seth also, especially if this is just a one-off, as it would seem to be. SummerSlam, I don't foresee LA Knight and Seth being one of the matches. I think it will be Seth and Punk or Seth and a returning Roman, something to that effect. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Seth also. I think that LA Knight puts up a valiant fight, but at the end of the day, it's Seth.
Hey, what do you think of Braun Breaker's promo at the beginning of Raw? I felt like he kind of fucked that one up a little bit. He didn't look very strong. It
looked like he got a little either scatterbrained or lost. And the emotions or the emoting, I guess, that Hangman and Seth had behind him, that I think it was supposed to be like he's going off and we're like, oh, shit. But to me, it came off more like, well, that's not going well. Like, oops. And then waiting for him to bring it back around.
Listening to Bronson Reed's promo where he was basically just talking about Jey Uso, I thought maybe he was just supposed to call out Sammy and focus on Sammy.
Right.
And he I saw that some people said he went off script. I don't know if he went off script intentionally or if he just got so flustered that he started talking about how he's going to be the face of the company for the next 20 years. And they're like, huh. So
they're like, all right.
It wasn't it was a Steiner moment, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, very fitting. The next match I have listed here is Randy Orton versus a newly returned Drew McIntyre. This just started on SmackDown Friday to Drew returning and letting Randy know where he stands with him. So not a whole lot of build here, but who do you have winning this match? Does it make sense for Randy to get a win and what that story is going on with him and Cody and how that seems to continue? Or is this going to be a little bit of a mini program before we get there, so him and Drew are going to have some back and forth, and Drew's got a shot since he's the returning man?
Gosh, I feel like this would be a perfect SummerSlam match for the both of them, right?
Right.
So I'm going to say Randy wins, and that just kind of irritates the shit out of Drew and pisses him off, and he does, the carrying cross thing where he's coming out and attacking him from behind or just being a pest in his ass. and they run it back at SummerSlam, or run it back maybe on a Friday Night SmackDown, and then finish their feud at SummerSlam. I don't know. I don't know what else they have planned for Randy and Drew for SummerSlam. That just feels like a perfect place for them to have a blow off match
Yeah.
in a best of 3 series. So I'm going to say Randy gets it this time.
Okay. Yeah, I got Randy also. Just the short build, I think to your point, I was thinking the same thing. SummerSlam seems to be a good way. Even if they just did 2 of these where Drew's pissed, he's not happy with the way that it went. Something it's not necessarily interference or bullshit. It's just something goes wrong and doesn't work that way, and Randy picks up the win in a moment of weakness. So I'm going to go ahead and say Randy also because this is going to set up something for them down the road. Um, I mentioned this at the top of the show. There's 3 matches that currently are listed on line for Saturday night's main event. We've seen that this is a 4-match type show in a 2-hour window, so we expect there to be one more match named this week on SmackDown. But obviously, as you mentioned, the headliner Gunther and Goldberg. This is said to be Goldberg's final match. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Who do you have winning? And how do you feel that since they've started this whole thing, like it's been brought up in media that, Goldberg got hurt. They bring up his age a lot. They've done video packages. And then this week we saw a little bit of a almost got you moment with Bill almost getting Gunther before he, ran off. So how do you feel about the build and who's your winner?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I mean, it's been an okay build for what this match is, for the excitement level that I have for it. I feel like that, Gunther's done a good job with his promos. I like that Goldberg actually showed up on Monday. But, I think Gunther's going to win. I just wonder how they get there. I wonder if they're just going to let him go over clean.
Right.
And kind of Goldberg goes out. The other thing I was thinking, would they do a retirement match and have it end in some sort of a no contest where
it's a draw.
Goldberg just kind of snaps and goes crazy and just, destroys them to the point to where they cancel the match or something. I don't know if that's the way to go. I'm going to say the other prediction I made a while back was, what if he wins?
Right.
What if he wins and then there's the cash in? But that would kind of almost feel like unfinished business for Goldberg, in that sense. So
if he gets cashed in on,
yeah,
is it an actual effort to make Seth a prick in ruining a feel good moment in Atlanta? Because to this point, we've talked about this, right? That Seth's heel run hasn't really been a heel run.
Yeah. I mean, if Goldberg's willing to come out and take a spear from Braun after the match, a tsunami from Bronson, and then a stomp, I mean, that would be a great way to put some guys over.
Right.
Give them some real heat. That's for sure. Maybe I'm wrong about Goldberg just because of my love for Bret Hart, but I don't know if that's been his MO, throughout his career to help put guys over at all. I'm trying to think of moments in his career where he had the chance to do that and whether or not he did it.
Okay.
So I'll say Gunther ends up winning. I think Gunther puts him to sleep. I think.
You think he puts him to sleep?
I think, yeah. He's been using that sleeper hold for so long. I think he just goes out. He just goes out.
I also am going to take Gunther. I like the idea of the cash in, of him eating the tsunami, a spear, and a stomp, but I do also feel like they still are kind of looming with the idea that Seth could use it on Cena or possibly Cody, and it lead to something with Seth and Cody or Seth and Cody after SummerSlam. If Cody beats John for the title, then he cashes in. Now it's a whole different dynamic, and we're off to the races with those guys.
Yeah,
and I think
like
if you just
them teasing it,
I think if you just end this with him being the world champion, now there's no thought process to this. It was like, oh, that was easy pickings going after Goldberg that way. So now Gunther's chasing Seth, and I don't know how many people really want to see that.
Yeah, the other thing I can see happening is the cash in foiled by Punk, right? Or not where he wastes the cash in, but before he can actually cash it in, Punk shows up at the end of Saturday night's main event as well.
I'm gonna throw in something out there. Maybe you disagree with this. They kept bringing up that the reason why he has a point of contention with Gunther was he was with his son and his family when this started in Atlanta, right? So do you think that it's possible that his son makes an appearance?
I mean, his son's getting ready for Colorado football season, isn't he?
I mean, technically it's We're in summer, so if he just does a run in real quick, Dion wouldn't mind the attention, I would assume.
Maybe I think he'll be there. I think maybe Gunther goes and slaps him across the head or something, and maybe he gets involved. I wouldn't mind it. I mean, why not? Let's bring some love to the Colorado Buffaloes. Get them a little bit more attention down there in Atlanta.
There you go.
And maybe Dion will show up along his side. I mean, he is the guy that built the Georgia Dome.
That's right. You
Yeah,
don't mess with
not
prime
the
time.
Georgia Dome anymore, but he
Yeah,
was
well,
an
yeah,
Atlanta legend. That'd be cool. Deion Sanders next to Goldberg's kid watching Goldberg's last
right.
match.
That'd be fun. So, as we said, we expect there to be a fourth match, but currently we don't know what that is. So, those are the 3 matches we have listed for Saturday night's main event. We're going to go ahead and move on to Evolution. There is currently 6 matches listed. The first one right off the top is the Battle Royal. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So, you do Queen and King of the Ring to get a title shot at SummerSlam, and then just follow that up with a Battle Royal to get another title shot? How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. They have too many automatic, number one contender matches, with the Royal Rumble, with Money in the Bank, with Queen of
Chamber.
the Ring, with this Battle Royal. It's like, come on. Like, I think that's the only way they know how to give something stakes for the women.
I was going to say, is that lazy booking, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing. I feel like they have to do it because if they do a Battle Royal, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, say Nikki Bella comes out and wins it because she's in it now, and
Right.
okay, cool. Like, it was just a great moment for her. I think maybe I would have preferred. I know, like, Julia doesn't have a match on this card. I don't think.
Not so far, which is surprising.
Why not? They should have made it an automatic, match against Julia right then and there, or something like that, and add an extra 10 minutes to the match. I don't know. They've done that before in NXT, right, where they have a battle royal and they get down to the final 2 and they make it an actual match.
Right, and then the winner would get the next. Whether if you're a Raw person, if it's for Julia, then at the next SmackDown you get your U.S. title.
Yeah, something like that. But it really changes my prediction making here because I figure with it being for a number one contender match, I feel like this is like a Stephanie McCare vehicle for her to just win and get a match at some point.
That's another name that they seemingly have let disappear into the night the last couple weeks. And you're headed towards a women's show. She's not even on the poster.
I think they're just biding their time. I think they're just waiting for something to come up, but they didn't really have anything for her for this one.
So, who's your official pick for the Battle Royal?
So I was going to say, I know Nikki Bella just announced herself for the Battle Royal. And if this was for no stakes at all, just to be the Battle Royal champion, I would have picked her. Especially because they had a big spot planned. I'm trying to think. Do they dare try to make it up to her and give her
a title shot?
A title shot and do it at SummerSlam? Because
the title shot's in Paris. It's not even at SummerSlam because you got to remember Jade's getting her title shot at SummerSlam.
Well, she could do Io Sky or Rhea Ripley. Technically, she could do the other champion.
That's true, but they've already said it's for Clash in Paris.
There's still one show before SummerSlam. Paris is still before SummerSlam.
No, it's after. So, it's the first weekend of August is SummerSlam, and then the last weekend of August is Clash in Paris. They did it backwards this year.
I'll say Nikki Bella wins it. I think they
get
a title shot in Paris.
I'm going to go with one that you probably weren't thinking of off top of your head. And to your point about why there's championship stakes, I got a returning Bianca winning.
Ooh.
Because they're going to bring in legends, right? There's going to be a few people that are legendary that are going to be in this thing, but they're not really going to have, to your point, stakes in the game for the title. So who would you bring in? A Vaquer, however you want to say her last name, Stephanie. She's definitely got to be in this. If they're not going to add her into a match based on Friday, which she's not technically on SmackDown, but it's a go-home show. And then if you're looking at people that you go, who's real viable, she's coming back. Like we saw Bianca make the appearance with the broken fingers, which you would assume or hope would be healed by now. And she doesn't really have to wrestle for another month if they're not. So I'm going to go with Bianca. So that was my choice.
I just feel like they made it for the number one contender. I went with Nikki because maybe it's like a throwaway number one contender match where they'll do the match in Paris, but.
Well, Bianca also factored into it. If you're going to go, because Jade and Naomi have their no holds barred match here, which we'll get to here momentarily, but that's leading to, we know what's dangling there. That Jade's got a title shot, Naomi's got the briefcase. Well, if you make a situation where the winner of that match, like let's say it's Jade winds up beating Tiffany, and then Naomi cashes in on Jade, and then she's your real winner, and then Bianca's waiting in the wings for the shot over at Clash in Paris. So now these three are back intertwined again.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my logic behind Bianca.
I like that. Well, it'll be the person that comes out last. The surprise.
Oh, that's what your prediction is? All right. I mentioned Jade and Naomi. They're having a no holds barred match. Who's your pick?
Naomi.
You got one with the briefcase and one with the title shot.
Well, Naomi. I was thinking Naomi because she would use the briefcase. I think Naomi's going to win. I'm still waiting for her and Nia Jax to get together. I'm still waiting for the She Line to get together. So I'm going to say Naomi with the help of Nia Jax.
Okay. I got Jade because I think they want Jade to look strong going into her title match against Tiffany. Io Sky and Rhea. We saw this one was kind of done ass backwards where Io got to pick her challenger and she challenged Rhea. So I think that as much as I like, some of the matches that Io has had recently, I think that they go back to the person that they know and the superstar that is Rhea Ripley with the World's Championship. So I'm going to go Rhea.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this one, and I was thinking forward to SummerSlam, and like what would make sense for Rhea Ripley as a champion.
Mm-hmm.
I think Becky Lynch makes sense for SummerSlam.
Okay.
Because I know they're going to run it back from the previous WrestleMania, but this is a different character that Becky Lynch is playing. I think. I don't think she's going to walk out with the Intercontinental Championship, so I think that would make sense. So I'm going to say Rhea, Becky. That's like a marquee SummerSlam, either night one, night two match.
Right, and they need marquee matches, being 2 nights, yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think that from them personally, I think they want to run it back because at WrestleMania 40, everybody found out on the spot that Becky was dealing with strep throat and 100-degree fever during the match of like, oh, hey, by the way, just in case, if you guys see her looking, down a little, that's why.
Yeah.
So I could see that, them wanting to run that back. On the other side, for the women's world, or WWE Championship, rather, Tiffany Stratton chooses Trish Stratus for this match. They have a little bit of history from their tag match and whatnot. Did you have a problem with it being Trish that gets the title shot? And B, who's your winner for this one?
I mean, I think it just goes to show when you have to do some stuff like this that somebody's title reign isn't going very well. And they just kind of throw somebody out there. I'm not upset at it. I think, Trish is a big name. It's going to bring eyeballs. Maybe some people that aren't watching wrestling are saying, wait, Trish is wrestling? It's two, beautiful blonde women in the ring at the same time. Blonde bombshells, you can't go wrong, I'm not mad at it. I'm not excited about it. But I think Tiffany gets this win and just kind of puts another marquee win on her reign before she inevitably loses it. I think I'm almost inclined to believe she loses it tonight or Saturday night. I mean, you can't really go wrong with those two women in the ring. I will say, I think Tiffany wins the match. I almost want to see the cash-in happen that night. I want to see it happen Saturday night. I think I would prefer Naomi versus Jade for the Women's World Championship at SummerSlam. I think Jade cashes in, or Naomi cashes in. She's the champion. That makes sense for Jade to challenge her at SummerSlam.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, I mean, why not? And then turn Tiffany heel. They need to turn Tiffany heel. Maybe that pisses her off.
Would it be more fun to do the Goldberg treatment to Trish, where like Trish surprises everybody and beats Tiffany, beats her, and then she gets cashed in?
Destroys her. Here comes Naomi. I just don't want to see it happen at SummerSlam. I just don't want to see Jade beat Tiffany at SummerSlam just for Naomi to cash in at SummerSlam. We've seen
that's not a bad idea.
Many times.
So who's your official pick to win? Yeah, right. So who's your official pick for the winner?
I'm gonna say Trish.
You got Tiffany
wins
or Trish wins?
The surprise victory. Tiffany goes ape shit on her. Naomi catches in. I'm gonna go with that prediction. Sometimes you know me. I love to overbook these. I love to overbook this shit. It's more fun that way.
Ooh. Okay. Right. The women's tag match, Fatal Four Way. We got Raquel and Roxanne, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. We have a tag
You
team from
know,
NXT, and then now we found
sometimes
out
you
on Monday
forget
it's
that
going
the
to be the
women's tag
Kabuki
team
Warriors is the
championship
fourth team.
belts or champions can go on
So
any
who's
show
your
because
pick
they
to
haven't
win
really done
the
that
four
with
way?
them. I would like for them to do that with Charlotte and Alexa. I would like for them to be the champions and let them go from show to show, showcasing, whatever story they want to tell or just showcasing their talents. So I'm going to say Charlotte and Alexa surprise everybody and get the win.
I got Raquel and Roxanne, uh, retaining just due to the fact that it's going to continue the story with Liv. I mean, I could see them losing and it be one of the two's faults and that be part of them falling apart. But I think that based on what we saw on Monday with the whole idea of like showing, her picture and like a kind of memoriam type thing for her as if she was gone now, I think that's going to play
But
more.
boy,
So I
what a
think they have
moment
to
for those
retain
NXT
in order to
tag team
continue that
or
drama. So I'm going
team
to
to
go
be in
ahead
there
and
with
go
the other
Raquel
three
and
tag teams that they're in
Roxanne.
there with.
I just think that it makes more sense. I don't think either one of us really feel like it was ever going to be the NXT team that was actually going to get a chance to, come across with a. No, I agree. I don't think they ever were, considered for the win. So that being said, we got the NXT Championship. Jordan Grace taking on JC Jane and her crew. I like this moment for NXT. To your point, not only the tag team but the individuals as well. Jordan Grace is somebody who's been rumored to be going up to SmackDown in all
Yeah,
of this,
I was
but to
thinking
this
Jordan
point, it hasn't
Grace,
happened.
but like you said,
I
the
could see
rumors have
her
been that she's going to get called
potentially
up.
getting a run with
So
the NXT Women's
I don't think
Championship.
she
So I'm
gets
going
that
to go ahead and
championship
say
reign. I
Jordan
think she gets
Grace
called up, so I'm
beats
going to say
JC
JC
Jane
Jane
in this one.
gets this win. And Jordan Grace moves on. I think it's the Mariah May show on NXT, here going forward. Yeah, that name.
Okay.
I couldn't remember her name. I couldn't remember her name, so I went with the old one.
You mean Blake Monroe? All right. The final match that's listed on. It's all good. It's all good. The last match we mentioned a little bit earlier, the triple threat
Yeah, I
match,
think
Bailey versus
Bailey
Becky
walks away because
versus
they've done it
Lyra for the
more,
Women's Intercontinental
rivalry building
Championship.
between Bailey and
I'm
Lyra
with you. I don't
leading up
think
to
Becky
this,
leaves with the
and
title. I'm
kind
going to
of.
say Bailey
So
walks
I
away
think
with the
Bailey walks
championship.
away
Who's your
to
pick in this
and
one?
then her and Lyra will continue the rivalry going forward. I don't want to see Bailey turn heel again, but I don't
Which
know.
one of
I
these
don't.
two, based on
Maybe
what we
Lyra.
saw
I
on
think
Monday,
Lyra,
which one
if
of
she
these
could
two is
just be a
going heel?
dastardly
Bailey
heel,
or Lyra?
would be a better character than what she's doing now. Just kind of a the white baby face, like just happy to be there kind of thing. I think it would make more sense for Lyra to do it.
Okay. Okay. We got
Uh,
some
you
blind
know,
predictions to make for AEW,
honestly,
but
the
before
triple
we get
threat.
there,
I mean,
what
I think
matches
it has the
or
most
a match do you care
star
about
power. I mean, 2 out of 3
from this weekend's
women in that
WWE
match are
action,
future Hall of
if
Famers
any?
and probably all time greats. Um, and it's had a good build, so I think I'm looking forward to see what story they tell in that match for sure. I think I'm looking forward to that match the most.
Okay. Not for the build, but I want to see Rhea and Io have a good match. I think that they can tear the house down. So I'm hoping that, they get adequate time rather to deliver on that and not just be a clunky kind of out of sorts match. So I'm interested in seeing that one. Um, to you, I asked a variation of this earlier. Um, does this the way that they built this, and I want to make sure I frame this correctly. To you, does it make sense
No, I don't
that
think
this
so.
PLE as evolution
I
is as
think
important or
I know
effective
there's an all
as
boxing
WWE wants you to believe that it is?
card in Madison Square Garden, I think on Friday. That's all female boxing card, and then they have this evolution card on Sunday. But I don't think so. I mean, regardless of what people think, I mean they're always going to have prominent spots on main cards, right? Like they've been getting main event spots on Raw, on SmackDown. They get, you know, highlighted on all the other PLEs. I don't think it. I think it's a nice showcase. I don't think we need to read into it much more than that because there are going to be people out there that just are strictly like they're not fans of women's professional wrestling.
Do you think that if they're going to do, yeah, Do you think that if you're going to do a show like this, then it needs to be in a window of time where
Yeah,
you can build adequately to make people care about the wrestlers or the matches involved?
I think if they
That
would
it
have done a
can't be
better,
part of
yeah,
like this
better
every
job
three
telling
week
us
cycle that it got thrown
the
into?
story between Io and Rhea
That would
versus
make a difference into
Io
how
just
it
picking
feels
her,
important or how it
or
feels like
getting
it's a bigger deal.
into more Trish and Tiffany relationship building, and then having this match. I think it would be a much bigger deal. But because of the way that they just run these things every
Yeah.
2-3 weeks, I mean, it's just another show to me. It doesn't feel like it's a major show. It's just another show. It's kind of like it's a Saturday night's main event. It's just, but you know what? It doesn't feel out of place. And that's to me, it's
Right.
just a wrestling
The
show.
rumor
Like,
is,
it doesn't feel like I would watch it. You know what I mean? I'm not
yeah,
sitting here
it's a
thinking like I
PLE
don't want to
light
watch
is
that.
how it
Like
comes across.
I want to watch it. So I
Um,
mean, they have a lot of really good matches, a lot of good
no,
performers on there. Like they've gotten
yeah,
to that point to where they really don't have to sell me too much. I'm just watching another WWE show.
right. Okay, so that's a good point. And Bully Ray said this on Busted Open this week that Trish and Tiffany on Friday did nothing to make him care about why these two should have a match. That WWE has become McDonald's. That because they've served 99 billion, that's the place you go because that's what you're used to. That's what you know is good, so you go there. It's not because that's what you're interested in or you want to try. Do you feel like there's some validity to that? That people are just rolling with WWE at this point? We've talked about, I personally talked about the creative side of things last week versus the business side of things. You, me, and David have all had our different points of view on what, David said at one point he was tired of hearing about TKO trying to, make money and break these records and still put on, lackluster creative shows or having a good match here or there, and you have
And I
how
love
X amount of
McDonald's.
hours of programming. For you, do you feel
I
like
love
that's
McDonald's.
kind of the thing? Is that
Yeah, so there's
most
nothing wrong with
people are
getting
rolling with
McDonald's, and
WWE
then
and
every
some of these
once in a
shows
while
just because
deciding
it's
you want to spend
WWE and that's the routine
$25
that
on
they're
an
used to?
AEW meal. So,
Their fries are pretty tough to
yeah,
get.
I mean, it's WWE programming. I've been watching it since I was 3-4 years old. As long as it says
Right. Yeah.
WWF or WWE on it, I'm probably going to tune in and watch. They have the benefit of the doubt. Like, I know I'm going to walk away from that show liking probably more than I dislike. You're always going to have something that you're going to complain about. And if Tiffany versus Trish is a letdown, I mean, there's other matches on that card that I think are worth watching and tuning into. I think the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match is worth watching. The Triple Threat, the other Rhea versus Io is definitely a huge match. So there's a lot of stuff to watch. I mean, Tiffany's booking just isn't
Do
it
you
right now. So we just have to accept it for what it is,
right?
and hope that they realize that, hey, we kind of. But here's the thing: a lot of first-time champions, this happens. Right? This happened to Liv Morgan. First time she won the championship, she just held the title. They didn't really know what to do with her. Now, she's come back and she's won it again since then. Now she's a freaking superstar. So Tiffany's gonna, look back on this run,
Right.
and they're gonna look back on this run and decide, okay, this is what went right. This is what did not go right. Let's build on this character and let's make it better for the next
Different
time.
story.
So it
Yeah.
happens. It happened to Damian Priest. It happened to Gunther's first WWE Championship run. Where it's kind of like,
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think to what you said is true about like you go where you know it's good, and then you every once in a while you want to switch it up. I think that's the problem, is that between AEW, WWE, and then you have everybody else kind of in between, that the buffet isn't in one place, and that's kind of the problem. Is that you're not getting a buffet of action or storytelling. You have to go if you want to see crazy hardcore shit. I brought this up a little bit last week. The skewers in the head and the staples and the sneakers with spikes on them. You're gonna go watch AEW. If you're gonna go watch, or if you want to watch something that you've watched since you were a kid because that's what you're used to, it's WWE. There's the buffet idea of like there should be lucha, there should be women's, there should be understanding what level is each person. Is there tag team stuff? Who's got a better tag team show? Those things aren't all in one place right now. And I don't know if that's a particular show's and company's fault or if that's just the consumer now because they don't feel like the attention span to the consumer is long enough to give you the buffet. So they're going to pick the spots that they want to highlight. And if you want to find the other stuff, as long as you hang around for those moments, they're okay with it. So that in mind, we said, AEW is a different place. We got All In this weekend at Global Life Stadium where the Rangers play. It's, All In is supposed to be their big show of the year. We're going to blind pick 6 of their matches. We are
That's what MJF is
excluding
doing at
their
biggest show of the
battle
year.
royals. So we're not worried about that. I know Mark Briscoe's in it. I know MJF's in the men's. That's not what we're talking about. We're only talking about the regular matches. Yep.
You know what's funny is I saw a promo about Cole talking about
how the mighty have fallen
champion
huh?
for a long time.
So
I think
let's
he's
go
gonna
with
lose to
match
Kyle
number
Fletcher.
1. You
I saw
got Adam Cole
Kyle Fletcher
versus
came out, and I saw
Kyle
the reaction
Fletcher
to
for
this
the
guy, and I saw the way
TNT
people were
Championship.
talking about him.
Yes.
I think he's going to pull it out. I think they're going to showcase him in a big spot.
I got him winning too. I think that he's going to be, his character's to be a member of the Don Callis family and be a dickhead. I think they're going to exacerbate that by putting the TNT Championship on him. Match number 2, the Hurt Syndicate, so Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, taking on Jet Speed and the Patriarchy. So the Patriarchy is Christian Cage and Nick Wayne, and then Jet Speed is kind of lower end mid card guys that they put together in a tag team. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with the Hurt Syndicate. I just don't see them losing to anybody.
Why not?
And that's
listed. They got MJF in their corner, don't they? And MVP. So
and MVP technically. The third match I've listed here: Swerve and Will Ospreay taking on the Young Bucks. The stipulation is if the Bucks lose, they lose their EVP status. And if Swerve and Ospreay lose, they're not allowed to challenge for the AEW World Championship for AEW.
I don't know. To me, it feels like that character. Remember, as much as I wanted them to be those douchey EVPs, I don't think I think they were douchey, but I don't think they pulled it off in a good way. I think maybe they're ready to be done with that. They'll go away for a little bit and come back, repackage as something else. So I'll say Ospreay and Swerve.
All right. I'm going to say Swerve and Ospreay also. I just don't see them not allowing. I mean, to this point, we haven't seen Ospreay in the title hunt like that in a while where you really thought, like, they're not going to fuck this up. He's going to get the title shot and he's going to win. And so putting that on the back burner for another year just doesn't seem to make much sense. Okada versus Omega, they're unifying the Continental title and what became the international title. It was once the Atlantic Championship. Now it's the All International title.
Championship of what?
And they're literally unifying it to be called the Unified Championship.
They couldn't come up with something better. The Unified Championship. So they're going to have their AEW World Championship. They're going to have the AEW Unified Championship.
I thought you might say that.
And at least they're going to have the TNT Championship. At least they're unifying. They're getting rid of one. So I'll give them credit for that. I mean, what's the count here? What's the count between Okada and what's his face? Omega. They've had like 7 matches, right? I'll say whoever's down.
Omega.
I think it's going to be Okada. I think Omega.
Let me take a look.
I think it's going to be Okada.
They've had. I want to say it's at least 6.
I mean, what has he done? I mean, is he still like a EVP stooge, or has he changed his character up?
Really?
I'll go with Okada. I'll go with Okada. Like I said, I don't know.
So
what
it's
his
2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw.
EVP stooge
is what they have.
Being a little tool. I think maybe he's ready to become a more serious champion.
Okay.
I'll go with Okada.
Flipping people the bird, calling people bitch.
Mercedes Moné, right? She has like 18 belts.
That's been the most of it. Okay. Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné Hogan.
Good for her. I think she gets one more. I think they need to build.
Yeah. I mentioned this last week. She's got 12 belts for companies that nobody knows who the fuck they are. They could just start making them up at this point.
But I mean, she's there. She's okay. Moné.
You can go with Mercedes, huh? I said this last week. Right. This is what I said. I said that she's got too many belts for them to make this match make sense. She's not shown off these wins. Like, they've not shown video packages of her in these other places defending the titles, building her up. And now she's just now contending for the actual title in the company that she works in. So if Toni beats her, she's not beating the monster. And then if she loses, then Moné didn't need all those belts anyway because she got the one that she was looking for. So
and she still never
it doesn't
she
really
add
the
up
tag
team championship.
But
with
I'm going to go ahead.
I'm
going to say Mercedes also.
She should hold that up as well.
I think that they've gone too far at this point. It's it's like poker, right? Technically, she never lost that. Yeah, that's
Wouldn't it be
true.
something? I'm gonna stop. Wouldn't it be
That's
something
true.
if Naomi
She
and
should shout
Mercedes
out
when they
Naomi
walked
to the
out as the
camera
world
like Nash
champions
used to do to HBK.
this weekend?
The final match, the main event, it was deemed this last week. It is going to be a Texas. I mean, it says something. We'll say that. The main event was officially stipulated to be a Texas death match this weekend as Hangman Adam Page hit his buckshot lariat on Marina Shafir. Also, Roddy Strong's wife. So it will be a Texas death match. Everybody expects this to be the moment
So it's
that
a Texas
they finally
death
get the
match.
belt back
He's
in
gonna get
visual
some help,
play,
right?
that it
Like,
won't be in a briefcase
Moxley won't
anymore,
have Death
and
Riders
that
helping himself.
finally somebody overcame the Death
AEW
Riders.
originals
So
are going
you
to
got
come out
Hangman
and
or
help
you
him
got
win
Moxley
this
in
match.
a
Is
Texas
Darby Allin
death
coming
match.
back? Is he done with Mount Everest?
You got to, yeah.
I think we get some AEW originals coming out to help Hangman win this match, and I don't know who they would be. Like, you could tell me, like,
He
who those
is.
originals
Like they
would
said,
be.
his return is imminent. So I would expect him to be one of the guys that shows up.
Has Wardlow been doing anything?
I mean, Hook, you got
He's a ghost.
Joe
I
has
heard
been part of
he
the
might be
ops,
coming
who's
to
been the guy.
WWE.
Powerhouse Hobbs has been another guy that's been a team with them.
Yeah, I think Hangman Page
So,
gets
I mean,
help
there's been
from
a
some
few.
AEW originals and
No, he's a ghost.
restores order back order, right? They get the championship back in display. They unify the other one. The EVP, you know, all the power is going to be going to some sort of person in the background that we don't know who's in charge. I think things get a little back to normal in AEW.
Okay. Let me ask you this before we get out of here. I mentioned we didn't pick a winner for the Casino Battle Royals, men's or women's, but there's been some women talent lately that have been free agents that their
Shotzi,
non-compete stuff is up. Do you think we see possibly,
Um,
a Cora Jade, aka Elena Black, possibly?
Well, how about this? Do we see
who else?
appearances going the
Shayna
other way? Do we
Baszler,
see
maybe.
So what's her Britt Baker?
Yeah,
the other
Shotzi's
Battle
another
Royal?
one. Yep. Do you think we see any of those make an appearance?
Okay, never mind then.
No. She's under contract
I don't know if
long
Shayna
term,
Baszler
and the
makes
rumor
sense as
just
an
came out
AEW,
2 weeks ago that she wants out,
type wrestler.
but that they won't let her out of the deal.
Well, I mean, that'd be a good way to maybe try to lure Ronda back if they already got Marina Shafir over there and they bring in Baszler. Who's the other horse, woman? Yeah, and then, I mean, I don't know if they got something going on there. But maybe that would be a way to lure Ronda back. That would be a big deal for AEW, I think.
Right. Jessamine Duke. Right. I agree. Definitely would be. Well, 16 matches we predicted. That's a lot of predictions. We'll see what we know and what we don't know. Based on what you got when you're looking at watching things and it's not live, do you get that same
If I haven't paid attention to the spoilers and I'm watching
kind
it,
of
still
rush,
kinda
I
get
guess,
that
for
same
lack
rush
of a
'cause
better
it's live
phrase,
for
when
me,
you
but
watch it if it's already ran,
if I've
or
gotten
does it
spoilers,
not matter because some way,
I don't get
form,
that
or
rush,
fashion
but
you
I'm
kind of
still
run
really
into
interested
spoilers
in
of
how
some
they
kind?
execute things, and how things come off. So that's still a big deal to me. Like, how did this look? And sometimes it's different. Like where you go online and you get spoilers and you get people shitting on it, and then you watch and you're like, that wasn't that bad. These people are fucking crazy. So I like that part of it too. So I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, you watch so much wrestling. I mean, nothing that happens really surprises you. Like, right? Like if I'm at
Right.
this family event that I'm going to, and somebody, if you texted me, hey, Seth Rollins cashed in, he's the new world, champion. Goldberg won, Seth Rollins cashed in. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it wouldn't be anything that's gonna,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like, especially with things that you see on the tea leaves and everybody's booking things, you're like, there's nothing left to surprises, right? Especially because at some point you would have heard the spoiler, you would have heard somebody would have thrown it
Like,
out there.
what?
This
Yeah.
might happen. You're like, that's a good call. Like, that's a good, so. I mean, I still enjoy the shows. I still enjoy the entrances. I like seeing the reactions. I like seeing the story that the guys tell. So, I mean, it's a little different viewing experience, but I still enjoy it.
All right. One last question and we'll get out of here. 2 weeks away from this week, WWE reveals their creative show on Netflix. Do you feel like this is going to be a bad thing in the bigger picture in the long term of WWE? Or is this kind of like when they felt like the curtain call was killing kayfabe and it was like, it's kind of been dead for a while?
They're going to reveal. I think they're just going to tell the story like, this is Gorilla. This is a person in charge. These are all things that we know about anyway, but this is casual.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what I saw Yeah, what I saw is it's
No, I think they're gonna. I think
episodically
it's gonna.
laid out to
I think they're
follow
still
certain
gonna
things.
like be in
So
character in the
like
back.
one of them is
Like,
like a Cody
you
match,
know what
one
I
of
mean? I
them's a
still think
Punk
Punk's gonna be
match.
talking
Like
about his
it's
fears. I think
episodically
maybe
laid
we'll see
out to
more
follow
character
something
development.
different
I don't think they're
creatively
gonna
each
show
episode.
us Punk and Cody or Punk and Seth talking about, hey, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna do this, and then you're
Okay.
gonna do that. I don't think they're gonna show that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's gonna be more like, hey, what the hell just happened? Why did
Okay.
you know? And him talking about it. Well, Seth has been running his mouth about me, and I couldn't let him get away
Shaking
with
hands
it.
and being buddies.
So
Yeah.
I'm here to confront him, kind of thing. I think so. I think so. I think they announced the show. I think people went so crazy the other thinking it's going to
Right.
ruin kayfabe that they're like, we're going to
So you think this will play in
include it
favor
this.
of
Like, people
kayfabe?
are going to enjoy it.
Okay.
I think they're going to reveal some things for the casual fan, things that we already know, and at the same time, like maybe give us like some things that we enjoy as far as character development in the back, and another avenue for
Let's use it. Yeah.
for the reasons why certain wrestlers do certain
Right.
things. We'll see.
Okay. Okay. I can see that. I can definitely see them using that to, use kayfabe. Um, I will say that I just listened to Christopher Daniels on Chris Van Vliet's podcast, and he was talking about his eye, like how it looked like he had busted a blood vessel in his eye after his match with the Bucks, and how bad that was, and how like it actually healed in 3 days, and that there's a wrestler that used to be on the AEW roster named Abaddon who wore a lot of makeup and stuff, and linked him up to somebody who used his contacts, and so over almost a year he wore this giant ass contact and it was like, wait, what? Like because Van Vliet told him like, hey man, how long did it take for your eye to heal? And he's like, surprise, that
Yeah,
actually only
Aleister
lasted
Black
like
still has
3
a
days, and I
contact,
kept it
right?
going. And they were like, he was like,
Ever since
really?
he
He's
had
like,
that eye injury,
it's the commitment.
he's
You know what I
had
mean?
that eye
Like,
ever since.
do I want it to just be like, oh, it's part of the show,
I
or was
mean,
I going to go ahead and be like, hey, that I'm committed to this, right? So I mean, kayfabe. I don't feel like kayfabe's dead. I just think that you've had to adapt and evolve
well,
with how things are
I
and the
mean,
way people
it
consume
goes a long
things.
way,
And
right?
so,
When
because
the
of
Wyatt
that,
Six
people
made their
just aren't
debut
willing
and
to
they
commit
were
to
at
it
the
in the
Waffle
same
House
way
taking
because they
pictures
feel
with
like,
people,
oh, that's
like,
not working, or oh, people are going to see through it, or
yeah,
oh,
I
what
mean, I
happens
get it. Like,
instead of protecting the character and protecting themselves in the long run.
it's just a different era. I mean, you just got to buy into it. Like, I mean, honestly, like as adults, do we believe that the Undertaker was actually, a dead man? He was
You're
dead.
normal people, but yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, as little kids, you believe that stuff, but as adults, so for people like us, the people that are going to be complaining are the ones that already don't suspend disbelief. Like they're already like,
taking people's
yeah,
souls.
we know he's not dead, and they're going to complain because they told us he's not dead. I'm looking forward to it. I love WWE programming. The reason I'm into WWE more so is the behind the scenes stuff, right?
Right,
For a long time, it was always like, okay, why is this guy champion and
right.
not this guy?
No lie, I agree.
Why is the Miz getting the push and not John Morrison? You know what I mean? Like where on TV you're like John Morrison looks like the bigger star. He looks like the bigger, the better wrestler, the better performer. But for some reason they love the Miz. Well, the Miz is a guy that's willing to wake up at 6 a.m. and go
Right.
do the interviews and do the things that they want to do. So those are the things that you care about. I
Right.
mean, at least me, like it's scripted. So, but why? Why do they go in this direction? Why is it Seth
Do all the dirty work.
Rollins and not Dolph Ziggler getting the push? I'd like to see that stuff.
I agree. Right. It should have been him. Yeah.
Well,
That's a fair point.
yeah,
We'll
so-
see how it plays out. We'll see how much they open the door and how much, like you said, they use it to feel their own narratives. And if it potentially
Yeah, so
could
again,
be
going back to
something
that
that they can
documentary,
use as a
the
vehicle
Rock Cody
going
Rhodes
forward,
documentary, people were
that,
upset that
that it
didn't
could
really show us
potentially be
anything.
used as like, hey, we got 5
like,
more
what did-
episodes or whatever it is.
like,
and,
what did they think that they were going to show? Like,
we can use it
them in
this
the war
story or
room
that
together
story.
discussing the ins and outs of everything they were going to do. It makes it-
Right.
Yeah, like, what did they think was going to happen? Like, fuck you, you're trying to steal my WrestleMania match. Like, no. Fuck
They
you,
thought
Cody.
that you were going to see
you
Cody
came out, you
and
looked
The
like
Rock
shit, you looked
standing
too
across
pissed
from
off,
each other going, fuck you,
and we
no,
had to
fuck
go
you
the other
too.
way. Like, you
And
totally
that wasn't what they were going to do.
I mean, I think that's what we're going to get, more of that stuff.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
of the stuff that they showed us. Yeah.
Right. You watered down our moment. Thanks a lot. Yeah. If that's the way they go, I feel like it could be a good thing if they use it in the right way. So we'll see. Well, like we said, there is a shit ton of wrestling to watch. There's NXT
What about the
tonight.
Great
There's
American
Dynamite
Bash?
tomorrow, Collision and TNA on Thursday, SmackDown Friday, and this weekend you have All In for AEW, Saturday night's main event, and the Women's Evolution PLE. So take your pick. Oh, that's right. Saturday morning, NXT's Great American Bash. So WWE tripled up this weekend. Um, make sure to like and subscribe to our videos on YouTube so that way we can continue to grow this audience and you get these as soon as they drop. So that way, whether it's Tuesday afternoon like today or it's Wednesday light like normal, that you get them as soon as they come out so you can listen to them on your way
I
to
don't know,
work
man.
or
It's
while
a
you're
little
pretending to
uncomfortable
work
in
or
this thing. I
whatever
don't
it
know
is
how they
that
do
you're
it.
doing when you watch and listen to our
How do you
show.
do it? I'm like itching.
We
I'm ready to take
appreciate
this
the
thing
run in
off.
from
I might
Penta
have to
this
shave the
week.
beard before this.
Well, I got to ask, is this going to be a regular thing? Fair enough. All right. Well, what do you have to tell the people on the way out? You saw it. I'm going to go ahead. Last week I shouted out my wife. This week I'm going to shout out the kids. We'll see you guys next week on another episode of the Grab a Hold podcast.